Hey guys, we are looking at an absolute value inequality today, okay? Now, when you are solving problems like this, there's 4 types of answers you might get, okay? You can get an or inequality, an and inequality, no solution, or all real numbers, okay? Obviously, I'm just doing one problem here, so you're just gonna see one. But if you want to watch a video where I do an example of each one, I will link that in the corner, okay? But let's go ahead and start this. So the first thing I want to do is make sure my absolute value bars are alone on one side of the inequality. So for this example, we're good. They're alone over here. If there happened to be like a -7 or it was being multiplied by a 3 or something, I would want to get rid of those first, okay? But we are good here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split this into 2 different inequalities, okay? And if you're wondering, what the heck, why is she doing that? I'll link a video in the corner explaining why we do this and why it works, okay? So for the first one, I'm gonna just drop the absolute value bars and leave everything else the same, okay? So it's going to be x plus 6 is less than 4, okay? For the other one, I'm also dropping the absolute value bars, x plus 6. I'm going to change the sign to the other way and also change this to a negative, okay? All right, now remember I said there were 4 possible types of answers, okay? Well, the all real numbers and no solution have to do when this number is negative, okay? So this one's positive, so we don't have to worry about that in this example. So what I need to know is if this is an and inequality or an or inequality, okay? And that video I linked earlier will explain why, but one way I can tell is to look at my sign, okay? So this is a less than sign, which can kind of sound like less than, right? So when we have the absolute value on the left side, less than, it is going to be an and inequality, okay? All right, so now that we know it's an and inequality, let's go ahead and get x alone on these, okay? So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, and I end up with x is less than -2, and I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides again. I get x is greater than -10, okay? So both of those need to be true for x. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like on a number line, okay? So I would have -2 and -10. So we are saying x is less than -2, and it's less than, not less than or equal to, so I'm going to use an open circle. So less than would be this way, right? And x is greater than -10, okay? So that means it is between these 2 numbers. The reason the and is important is there because like 100 is greater than -10, right? So it would work for this one, but 100 is not less than -2, right? So it needs to work for both of them, which is why there's an and. So any number between these 2 will work for this inequality, okay? If you wanted to write this in interval notation, we're going to use parentheses since it's not equal to, right? So we can say you can pick any number between 10 and -2, but we use the parentheses meaning you can't actually use -10 and -2, right? So these 2 answers are the same thing, just written 2 different ways depending on what your teacher wants, okay? You could also write it, if you wanted to, like this, right? Oh, nope, dang it. Hold on, pretend that didn't happen. You can also write it like this. There we go. Sorry, I just had my signs flipped. So you could also write it like that if you wanted to. Okay, hopefully this made sense. I will link a whole playlist with a bunch of other examples if you need it. Thanks.